backpack was found full of contraceptives, lubricants, and I mean, if you find a backpack full of contraceptives and lubricant, and it would say to me, well, a girl, that tells me she brought that with her, and she was going to use it for having sex there. Plus, you have the history of the location. Plus, you have all the other accounts that's happened in other places in the county that say trafficking and prostitution go all together. Now, of course, there's different kinds of prostitution that happens in other places in the county. That's for sure. But these particular rings, though, they operate with these girls, and they know they can take them to these particular populations of men, and they know that they can do more things with impunity, with a much more impunity out of fear and threatening the girls, knowing that there could be repercussions back home in Mexico, no matter what had happened to them.
So this contraceptive, the backpack was found not in the cul-de-sac; it was in the bushes in the county.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aside from the prostitution, I wonder if you can address this. Just in general, how you feel about the police department. I understand that less than welcoming, I should say, of your associates.
I didn't catch the last part of your question.
Just how you feel in general about how you and the groups that you work with have been treated by the police department when you go into the canyons or around there.
Let me say this. I think any type of activism that unfortunately the status quo is going to run into the resistance to that status quo. And those police officers represent the status quo, and also represent the residents there. And I think that they were finding, a change in the happy median that they would normally operate under. Whereas when somebody started turning the heat up a little bit, I think they started, reacting, and then they started moving in the direction towards, maybe this type of, lawlessness shouldn't go on in regards to these campus. And that's why, yeah, and that's what I think the reaction was, from that standpoint.
So basically, any kind of activism that challenges the status quo runs into.
It's going to run into resistance, and there is a status quo that that accepts, that's going to accept, men living outside and letting them set up shanties and booches and stuff. Whereas, my feeling is, the first time I witnessed it, I was really shocked. I mean, because the parts of California I'm from, Santa Barbara County and Kern County, they don't accept it. I mean, they don't let this happen. I mean, when these things are found, they do something about it. They have them removed. They have the health authorities comes out. Whereas here, I think the mental, what would you say, people's comfort level is different, here in San Diego County. It might have something to do with the perfidy of the border, how close we are to the border, but then again, maybe it just has to do with, people having accepted it for so long.
So do you understand your own ad?
No, I do not.
Oh, okay. That's one thing that I was wondering. I know there have been some back and forth pretty police department is. I know you're concerned about the prostitution, but how much of this is about the prostitution? Is there some degree of just frustration with the police department? Because you really want to stick it to the police department?
No, not at all. I have to tell you, my record in I have a different take on illegal immigration. I say, the borders have to be secured, but I also say we're going to have to extend amnesty to the people who are here in some form of that. And that's to get complete, comprehensive immigration reform. And maybe some of the people who helped me in this, feel differently. But there's a lot of room for different opinions in this. And I mean, it's just really what you want to be, as far as I'm concerned. I showed up at the table because I told a story that they found provoking, that they found that was important, a story that needed, something that they saw, hey, we can do something about this with us being here. Let's do something about this and put a stop to this. And that's why they were interested. I mean, that's why people spent their time on it. Whether whoever it is that wants to volunteer and try to do something about it. Me, I'm a very, very poor, container to put this cause in, to be honest. There's others who would be a better container to put it in, but as it is, I'm the one who's being called up to the plate here, and I'm going to say, okay, I know what the right thing to do is, so I'm going to go ahead and do the right thing.
I guess just lastly, how do you feel about the police raiding Christie's house and all that association that's going on?
Well, I think it's kind of interesting that Christie was the one who originally filmed this footage. And I think it's interesting that just maybe, they thought she would be the only person who had the footage.
Of the prostitution, you mean?
Yeah, and again, I have to say this. I mean, we keep saying prostitution, but the fact is, the prostitution that's emanating from Mexico is bringing girls that are forced into prostitution. They're being forced into it. And this type of force is sometimes a force is when it's in the open in the floor and it's being pushed hard, it's ugly. But when you can't see it and it's very subtly applied, people don't understand, what's actually happening. And this is part of it. Is part of illegal immigration, really. If there was more ICE agents and more Border Patrol agents to investigate these types of crimes, they would be happening with a lot less frequency.
I've just got a last question, just to clarify. You're here representing the Minutemen, is that correct?
No. I represent myself. And I represent Save Our State. Now, Save Our State extended their hand out to me, and they heard my story and what I told them about what was going on. And they said, we want to hear more about it. We want to hear more about it and see what we can do about it. And I was brought to the table, and I sat down and listened to these men and women, and I said to myself, these people feel the same way I do. They're not going to compromise. They aren't going to equivocate. They're going to take the problem head on. And that's what, and I mean, you can say, well, you're associated with this group. I'm going to say, well, why don't you look at me as a person and you can evaluate what my person believes, what my beliefs are.
Just for our background, we need to know, to save us, have you ever been associated with the Minutemen?
Well, my friends are, but I mean, I don't say I am, because I've never been to the border watch or anything like that. I mean, that's what I guess, Minutemen typically would be defined as.
Jeff Schwalk and you have worked together. Sure. Often, right.
Absolutely.
Save Our State, I apologize, I don't know that group. Just in like 2 sentences, can you do me a favor and tell me what the philosophy is?
Save Our State is anti-illegal immigration. I don't agree with all positions that Save Our State takes. However, though, I agree with quite a number of them. I enjoy activism that's gonna push the envelope and put a question mark in somebody's head and say, hey, is what's going on right now okay or not? And if it puts that question mark in somebody's head, no matter how small a minority you are, if you raise up and say, here, look at this, what do you think of this? At least it gives people, a check. They say, okay, I'm looking at the marketplace of ideas here, and I can say, which idea am I going to shop for? Which do I like? And there's someone out there saying, this is what, how it should be. And that's what it's really about, I think.
To backtrack a little bit, sorry.
No, go ahead.
The footage was that footage confiscated then, the footage of the prostitution?
The footage was, I don't know, a number of people did receive the footage that came down because originally it was on a very poor camera.
Okay.
And it was very difficult to get off that hard drive on that camera.
What was it of? I got here a little bit late. What was the footage?
Okay, that footage, if you look at it, what it'll show you is people, rushing around trying to help these girls, trying to cordon an area and watch for them to come out. You would see the police department arrive and you'll see them lack action. You'll hear the girls in the bushes talking in Spanish. You will see the pimps come out and try to talk to a couple of them and talk to them to not kind of to talk them away so they'll go away. And the back and forth goes for a while, but nobody budged there because they knew that the stakes were high. This was about helping those girls. That's what it was really about. I mean, this isn't about who those people are living in the canyon or who the girls are, or where they're from. What this is about is helping them. That's what this is about.
So basically, before Chrissy was there, she was she filmed that. Before this was confiscated, did anybody in the group have showed to the police?
Yes, they did. And what you run into is complete denial. Complete denial that anything's happening.